Hey there, it's Stephanie Shea, Chief Astrologer for janspiller.com with your January 2024 astrological overview. Happy New Year. Wow, here we go. First month of 2024, and it's offering support for new beginnings. As I've mentioned in some of the other videos, we have not started the new year with a lot of support for new beginnings in several years. We've usually been under Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde, Venus retrograde, something that slowed us down until about February. But we do enter the year under Mercury retrograde, but it stations direct on the 1st. So it won't take long after that to get up and running. We officially clear the shadow phase of Mercury retrograde on the 21st. But my rule has always been get started slowly once we're out of the actual retrograde. I don't continue to hold back during the whole entire shadow, unless maybe it was something that felt very crucial. Perhaps proposing marriage or something. I don't know, something that would be so life altering and you just want the absolute perfect astrology. Maybe then wait till after the shadow, and then you can feel like you've done everything you can to have the cosmic support you need. But if you're just thinking, I've got to get started exercising, well, you don't have to wait till after the 21st, but just start slowly. You don't have to jump in. That's always good advice anyway with most things, but especially during the shadow of a Mercury retrograde, because we're still kind of clearing that slowdown energy and we don't want to just abruptly hit the gas. So the other big news for the month is that, well, there's a lot of big news, but Uranus will station direct on the 27th, and that will set the stage for every single inner and outer planet to be in direct motion for the next couple of months. And so that's where I'm really starting to feel, this is a different kind of beginning to the year. I think the most significant event, however, of January is that on the 21st, Pluto's moving into Aquarius, and it will stay there until September 1st. Now, we did experience Pluto in the 0 degree of Aquarius during 2023. We had some months, we sort of got the the feel of that. It's kind of a huge shift because Pluto only changes signs about every 250 years. And so really we are embarking on a new era that's once in a lifetime. It hasn't occurred since the late 1700s, which was also kind of a revolutionary time period in history. So this is definitely a big deal, and we're almost there. Now, between September 1st and November 18th, Pluto finishes its final days of Capricorn in our lifetime. So we do get that final retrograde back into 29 degrees Capricorn this year. And that's why I feel like we're not going to totally feel we've done the grand shift of Pluto and Aquarius until November 19th. At that point, Pluto will remain in Aquarius until 2044. So I think we will look back on 2024 as a pretty pivotal year that initiated changes that will have reverberations for 20 years to come. So no quiet start really to 2024 in that respect. The astrology this month is really activating our desire to take responsibility for our actions. We've got the sun, as well as the inner planets of Mercury, Venus, and Mars, all passing through the sign of Capricorn at various times this month. So this reminds us of our power to take charge and create the change we desire. I'd say there's a real matter-of-fact business-like energy that's going to be present for much of January that's going to really help us get some tangible results from our efforts. It's not as much of a month for speculating or dreaming or thinking about things. It's time for doing. We're probably going to enter 2024 with some very clear ideas about how we can make a difference in shaping our future. Now, the subtle difference, I think, between Pluto in Aquarius and Pluto in Capricorn is that Pluto in Capricorn kind of emphasizes authority figures. It can be our inner authority, but it's sort of singling the authoritative energy out to someone else who's an authority, or we're going to be the authority. When we work with Pluto in Aquarius, the way we will be between January 21st and September 1st of this year, and then, of course, much longer after November 19th, it activates our ability to contribute to a collective cause. So this is where we realize it's not just pointing the finger at one person or taking all the responsibility onto ourselves. Neither of those are going to work. No one's going to save us. We're not going to save the world individually. Pluto in Aquarius is saying the power is when we band together and find the groups and people that offer us strength and support, that no few people in charge are coming to the rescue. It's the collective group of humanity that needs to find ways to band together and help each other. And so that's been kind of exciting to me. It's kind of mysterious how it will unfold because there's still so much polarizing energy, but I do think we'll work our way through that, and some of this year's astrology will help a little bit with that. One thing that's happening this month is the Jupiter and Saturn sextile. So sextile is a favorable aspect in astrology that helps two planets take their qualities and work together cooperatively. So Jupiter and Saturn are quite different. They're almost opposites when you think of Saturn being the planet of limits and rules, and Jupiter being the planet of expansion and growth. And here they are teaming up. And I think they're going to help us combine our ability to dream with our awareness of current reality. So we don't get too carried away in the daydream. And we also don't get so mired down in the reality that we get so depressed we can't think of any way that things could be different. It's a nice balance, right? So I think our large scale plans that we make are going to be pretty sound this month. It's a good month for business agreements, financial planning, committing to something we want to do that will benefit our future, maybe an educational or training program. And I do think it could mean some progress when it comes to negotiations between powers, finding some common ground with those we perceive to be opponents. I think it'll be easier to see how to put idealism into action and transcend more narrow-minded thinking. So we'll see what comes of this month. It's going to be felt all month and at its strongest at the end of January. We have got Uranus stationing direct on the 27th, as I mentioned. It was retrograde back on August 28th. And this is usual. The outer planets always go retrograde about 5 months out of the year. Now that it's stationing direct, it's time to take some of our inventive ideas and begin developing them. The coming 8 months are really good to take some calculated risks necessary to maybe free ourselves from a stagnant pattern. I'd say financial freedom and sovereignty over our bodies are the biggest themes of Uranus in the sign of Taurus, because Taurus rules money as well as the physical realm. So we can be thinking along those lines when we're getting creative with our lives. What do we need to do to feel more financially free? Maybe it is not the conventional advice that you always hear. Same thing for building physical strength, for feeling free in our bodies, for healing ourselves. Now, let's jump back to this Mercury stationing direct. This is a big deal. It's been retrograde since December 13th. And so if you're eager to get started on your New Year's resolutions, just wait a few days till after it's stationed direct, as I mentioned. From the 21st on, that's after the shadow, you can pick up your pace, right? We can start gradually working towards something and then really put on the gas from the 21st on. Mercury is going to be in Sagittarius between the 1st and the 12th. These are great days for stepping back and assessing our current situation, getting kind of that big picture perspective, determine what goals and activities actually feel the most meaningful to us. I think with Mercury and Sagittarius, there's an emphasis on our values, and that's going to help us gravitate towards the situations and relationships that are a good fit. There's a lot of listening to your intuition that also goes along with Mercury and Sagittarius. And don't worry about all the details yet of your plan as the month begins. There's going to be more time to fine tune after Mercury moves into Capricorn on the 13th. So at that point, it's going to activate more of the practical part of our mind, and we can use the second part of the month to form strategies that we need to achieve a goal. It'll be easier to also focus on our responsibilities, I think, while Mercury is in Capricorn. It'll be a really good time to tend to anything that we've been neglecting in our personal and professional lives and make business contacts. I'm seeing the second part of the month as a really productive time for anybody who has been looking for work or looking to improve their work situation. We've got Mars and Sagittarius just the first few days of the month through January 3rd. So use those first few days maybe to just try some new things out. You don't have to commit to anything as the year begins. Again, we're coming out of a Mercury retro, but that I think that Mars and Sagittarius will sort of spark your curiosity, and you can do some of the what if scenarios. On the 4th is when Mars enters Capricorn. It's exalted in this sign, so it's really powerful. It really helps us get motivated. And I have to say, I think it will be much harder to procrastinate under this astrology. I was born with Mars and Capricorn, and it's almost impossible for me to procrastinate. It's a gift, and sometimes not when you just want to rest. But for everybody, I think we can feel this influence after January 4th. Mars in Capricorn is really good for embarking on long-term goal. It's good for developing patience and focus, keeping your eyes on the future rewards if you persevere now. It can also be quite a passionate time for relationships. There's a very straightforward approach to romance being supported. I would say direct communication backed up by actions to support our words. Best way to go. Plain and simple. No games with Mars and Capricorn. Now we've got Venus in Sagittarius through the 22nd. So most of the month. It's going to really have a bold expression. During these days, we might feel a need for a little bit more adventure and excitement in our life. So it's really good for existing partnerships, helping them break out of their comfort zone, maybe go to a new place together. Whether you're attached or single, it's a great month for travel. And if you're single and looking, you could meet somebody on a trip under this astrology, or maybe somebody from somewhere else comes through town who's very intriguing to you. It's just a very good time to expand our worldview and increase our optimism. So all this can be happening in tandem with all that Capricorn heavy energy I've been describing of just focusing and getting down to work. It's all a balance. You have to remember this Venus in Sagittarius is really calling to our hearts to make sure we don't forget to experience some joyful parts of living. On the 23rd, Venus goes into Capricorn. I think we'll maybe want to scale things down a little bit, appreciate the aesthetic of simple elegance. We could be drawn towards quality time with others and feel less interested in large gatherings and loud settings. You could use the last week of January as a time to realize what you truly appreciate and then prioritize your time and energy accordingly. Our ability to take charge of our lives is going to be the most alluring gift that we have to offer others. So when you're out there and you're just doing what you need to do, people are going to notice and they're going to be impressed with what you're doing. You're not doing it to impress anybody, but that's kind of the effect that can happen while Venus is in Capricorn. So we've got our Capricorn new moon on January 11th. This is really great. We're out of Mercury retrograde at this point. This is a wonderful new moon for setting any intentions that have to do with your profession, your public status, success, accepting responsibility or leadership roles, planning ahead, all of these kind of responsible Capricorn themes that can really pay off. So I would encourage you to set some intentions around that, and you'll be able to get started pretty much right away. On January 25th, we're going to have a full moon at 5 degrees Leo. That should be an exciting end of the month as well. Leo ruling romance, creativity. It can also rule parenting or relationship with children. So anything that's to do with bringing out our playful side, things can really come to a head if you have been trying to develop a creative project or a romantic partnership. This Leo full moon is a great time to kind of maybe see things start moving in the right direction, or see very clearly what is needed to get where you would like to go. So as always with full moons, take it easy. It can be a very high energy, fun time with Leo. It can also take a turn to the dramatic side. So you're going to have to balance your reactions and know when to step back and disengage. I hope you have a wonderful start to the new year. I'm certainly excited about all this astrology coming up, and I look forward to your forecast every month. Have a wonderful January.